Breaking news for millions of Americans. Your benefit is about to change, and if you're not ready, you could be left wondering where your check went, why your groceries suddenly cost more than you expected, and whether you'll have enough for prescriptions next month. Starting January 1st, 2026, important rules that affect Social Security, Supplemental Security Income, SSDI, and SNAP are shifting in ways that will create winners and losers, and if you aren't prepared, you could be on the losing side. But don't worry, I've got you covered. This channel is made only for you, the people who need clear, actionable updates. My name is Maria Hayes. I've been helping seniors, veterans, and low-income families navigate federal benefits for 12 years. I help claimants appeal denials, maximize monthly income, and avoid paperwork traps. I review Social Security Administration releases, USDA Food and Nutrition Service memorandums, and congressional reports weekly so you don't have to. According to the Social Security Administration, about 71 million Americans receive monthly benefits, and the administration recently announced a 2.8% COLA for 2026 that will affect retirement and disability checks. If you're new here, do me a favor. Drop your city and state in the comments so others in your area can help one another. Now imagine this. Picture yourself at the start of next year, expecting a small raise that will let you breathe for a month. You check your bank balance and see only a few extra dollars. Then a notice arrives asking for documentation, and suddenly your SNAP amount dips while they process the review. You might panic, you might be confused, you might feel devastated. For years, people have watched prices climb and assistance lag behind. For many households, keeping a roof over your head, putting food on the table, and covering prescriptions is a balancing act, and timing is everything. Here's the truth in plain language. The COLA is tied to a price index called the CPIW, which measures how prices for everyday items used by wage earners change. That index drove the SSA's 2.8% COLA for 2026, which on average will add roughly $56 per month to a typical retirement benefit. That number matters, but it isn't the whole story. SNAP, which supports tens of millions of Americans, follows an annual fiscal schedule, and the USDA issued FY 2026 guidance that adjusts allotments, eligibility standards, and deductions starting October 1st, 2025. Timing, regional price differences, and how states implement these rules will determine whether your wallet actually feels the increase. Let me be specific about dates and deadlines you must watch. October 1st, 2025 is the effective date for FY 2026 SNAP changes. December 31st, 2025 is when many SSI recipients will see their increased payments reflected, and January 1st, 2026 is when most Social Security retirement and SSDI checks will reflect the COLA. Know these dates. They're not abstract. They determine when agencies pull data, when case reviews get triggered, and when your recertification window might line up with a federal data match. Now here's where it gets interesting. When your Social Security check goes up, that higher income can be counted by SNAP as part of your household income during the next eligibility review. That can reduce your SNAP allotment even though you received a COLA. That's the perverse twist. You get a raise on paper, and unless you time your actions and document your expenses, you can lose food assistance. This is why timing your recertification, reporting your shelter and medical costs, and knowing how your state processes federal data are critical. Picture this scenario. Last month, my client Sarah, a 67-year-old veteran in Florida, called me in tears. She saw her Social Security payment increase and then noticed a small drop in her EBT balance. She was terrified she'd lost food money. I called her caseworker, gathered landlord statements, medical receipts, and utility invoices, and submitted them the same day. We got SNAP corrected, but not before Sarah endured a week of worry and skipped meals. That kind of disruption is unacceptable and usually avoidable with the right preparation. So what specifically can go wrong? Lots of things. You might get a COLA and then immediately receive a verification request that temporarily suspends benefits. You might recertify at the wrong time and have your higher Social Security counted against SNAP right away, reducing your net household resources. You might not report increased rent or medical expenses, which could actually increase your SNAP if properly documented. You might miss an email or letter because you haven't updated your contact info and the agency closes your case. The consequences are real: missed medications, skipped groceries, and sleepless nights. Now let's be practical. Step 1. Update your contact information with every benefits office you deal with today. Too many people miss notices because their address or phone number is outdated. Step 2. Set up online accounts, My Social Security and your state's SNAP portal, and opt into text or email alerts. Step 3. Gather documentation now. Landlord letters, recent utility bills, prescription receipts, and proof of out-of-pocket medical expenses are the paperwork that can protect or increase your benefit calculations. Don't wait until a letter says, "Action required." Here's a timing hack advocates use. If you can schedule your SNAP recertification or request an income and expense review before your Social Security COLA posts in January, the higher Social Security amount may not be counted until the next review period, effectively giving you a few months to benefit from the increase without an immediate SNAP reduction. That tactic is legal and widely recommended, but you must be proactive. Call your caseworker in December 2025 and ask to schedule a review early. Document the call and get a confirmation number. And listen, be wary of verification traps. If you receive an action required notice, respond the same day. Upload documents, get confirmation numbers, and take screenshots. If the agency loses paperwork, and it happens, your screenshots are proof you submitted on time. If your state allows electronic uploads, use them. If not, mail certified copies and keep the receipt. Treat every request as urgent, because missed deadlines can close a case automatically. Another real example, James, a 69-year-old Vietnam veteran I helped in Ohio, had been rationing blood pressure pills to make groceries last. When the COLA was announced, he expected relief. Instead, his SNAP was temporarily reduced until we produced proof of his medical receipts and shelter costs. We restored his benefits within days, but James told me, "I can't afford weeks of waiting." Those words stick because these delays impact health and dignity, not just budgets. Now let me break down the numbers so they're easy to understand. The SSA's 2.8% COLA will typically add around $50 to $60 a month to many retirement checks. Useful, but modest when groceries and rent have risen faster in many places. SNAP allotments adjusted under USDA guidance may increase, but the effective value depends on your state's cost of living and whether your household qualifies for higher shelter or medical deductions. That means someone in a high-cost state could still feel squeezed even with a higher nominal benefit. Budgeting advice you can use right away. Set the COLA money aside in a labeled envelope or separate account the moment it arrives. Treat it as protection for essentials. Prescriptions, a rent buffer, or to restock groceries you cut back on. Small discipline now prevents crises later. If you expect an extra $50 to $100, earmark it before it disappears into variable spending. Now a word on scams and protection. Look, I know scammers prey on people reliant on benefits. Never give your Social Security number, bank account, or card details to someone who calls claiming to be SSA or your SNAP office unless you initiated the call and verified the official number independently. Real agencies will not demand payment to release benefits or threaten immediate arrest over the phone. If you get a suspicious call, hang up, call the agency back using an official number, and report the incident. And let me say this plainly, subscribing to this channel is protection. I monitor federal releases, memos, and state policy shifts so you don't have to. I'll publish state-by-state timelines, sample scripts for contacting caseworkers, and checklists to protect income. This channel is for people who want clarity, who want to act, and who want to protect every dollar. Think about it. Wouldn't it feel safer knowing someone is watching the calendar for you? Here are concrete examples to help you visualize the impact. Suppose a single retiree currently receives $1,200 in Social Security and $150 in SNAP. A 2.8% COLA raises the Social Security check by about $34, bringing it to roughly $1,234. That extra $34 might not seem like much, but if you time your recertification and report your shelter and medical expenses, that $34 can be the difference between skipping a meal and buying a prescription. For a family of 4, modest increases can add up, but only if the higher income isn't counted immediately against other benefits. If you haven't already, call your local SNAP office and ask 2 direct questions. When is my next recertification due? And can I schedule an income and expense review before January 1st, 2026? If the answer is yes, request it in writing or get a confirmation number and submit documentation immediately. If your state allows electronic uploads, use them to create a timestamp trail. If not, mail certified copies and keep the receipts. These simple steps can protect hundreds of dollars a year. Finally, don't underestimate community help. Local legal aid, senior centers, veteran service organizations, and food banks often have benefit navigators who can collect documents and call agencies on your behalf. If a neighbor or relative may be affected, share this information and help them check their accounts. Collective action prevents individual mistakes. So what's the bottom line? A 2.8% COLA is real and helpful, but without timing, documentation, and simple planning, you could end up with less buying power than before. This isn't fear-mongering, it's a call to action. Subscribe now if you want weekly, actionable updates. I'll be back with exact state numbers, links to free legal aid resources, and scripts you can use when you call your caseworker. Take care, stay prepared, and protect every dollar you've earned.